From the knee catastrophe of Sean Livingston to the beginning of endless horrors for Derrick Rose, let us walk you through some of the most devastating on-court NBA injuries, starting with the knee catastrophe of Sean Livingston. You know that moment in NBA history that made even the most demanding fans squirm in their seats? Back in 2007, when he was playing for the LA Clippers, Livingston experienced a seriously gruesome injury. I'm talking about a leg that looked like it snapped right at the knee. It was so bad that the NBA decided not to show the entire clip, and trust me, we should all be grateful for it. The injury was a mess. Livingston dislocated his left knee, tore his ACL, PCL, lateral meniscus, and who knows what else. It was like a laundry list of things that could go wrong with a knee. Doctors were even discussing the possibility of amputation. It was a long road to recovery for Livingston. After that injury, he had to sit out for 2 seasons, and the Clippers decided not to re-sign him. But you know what? Livingston didn't let that setback define him. He called it the most challenging yet necessary thing that happened to him. He punched through all the obstacles and won 3 championship rings with the Warriors. Talking about punches, let's rewind the memories of OG basketball fans. Let us take a trip back to December 9th, 1977. Amid a fight between Kevin Kunnert of the Rockets and Kermit Washington of the Lakers, a figure emerged to break it all up. That figure was none other than Rudy Tomjanovich, a key player for the Rockets. Little did he know he was about to become the victim of a brutal hit. According to Kermit Washington, it was no accident. He claimed that he saw Tomjanovich rushing towards him and in a split-second decision threw a powerful punch right into Rudy's face. It landed with a sickening thud, and the sound echoed through the arena. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar described how it was as if a melon had been dropped on the floor. The impact was devastating. Rudy fell to the ground unconscious and bleeding profusely. His jaw was shattered, and he suffered multiple fractures. It was a scene that sent shockwaves through the basketball world. The once all-star caliber player was forever changed by that fateful night. After the incident, Rudy underwent a long and grueling recovery process. He spent 5 months on the sidelines battling the pain and working to regain strength. Although he managed to have one more good year on the court, the injuries took their toll. The pain persisted, and Rudy eventually decided to retire in his mid-30s. It's a tragic story of a promising career cut short by a single moment of aggression. It still haunts basketball fans to this day, especially those who clamor for more violence and aggression in the NBA. And no, we won't forget Andrew Bogut, as he's next on the list. Bogut went up for a slam dunk against the Suns. Little did he know that fate had other plans, and it wouldn't be a smooth landing for him. Things worsened as he hung on the rim for a fleeting moment, getting ready to release his grip. Instead of gracefully descending back to the ground, he flipped over like a gymnast in midair. He crash-landed on the hardwood floor with his right arm caught in an uncomfortable position against his side. I mean, talk about a painful encounter with gravity. Even the announcers couldn't hide their distress, crying "oh no" multiple times. They could practically feel the athlete's agony from that broadcast booth. And if you listen closely, you can actually hear Bogut himself yelling in pain. It was a challenging moment for everyone involved. At first, the commentators thought he might have just broken his wrist. Turns out, the damage was even more extensive. Bogut had a broken hand, dislocated elbow, and a sprained wrist. But here's where the story takes a slightly brighter turn. In a jaw-dropping display of resilience, Bogut returned from his career-defining injury in just 7 months. He made a remarkable recovery, returning to the court for the start of the 2010-11 season. Talk about a quick rebound. And here's the kicker. If you look at Bogut's career stats, you'd hardly even guess he had gone through such a gruesome injury. His rehab process conveniently lined up with the offseason, so he didn't miss too many games. The same can't be said about Gordon Hayward. Let's rewind to when he joined the Boston Celtics on a big money contract. But man, those first few minutes on the court turned into a nightmare. Hayward went up for a lob pass, but instead of a smooth landing, he broke his left leg and dislocated his ankle. Ouch, it was brutal. Even his teammates and the Cavs players couldn't stomach the sight. Dwyane Wade was seen praying. Tristan Thompson turned away. And Jaylen Brown was just wandering around, completely stunned. After that gruesome ankle injury, Hayward's season was done. He had to undergo a long and challenging recovery process, so he couldn't set foot on the court for the rest of the year. It was a significant setback, no doubt. Hayward had to focus on rehabbing his ankle, rebuilding his strength, and getting back in the game. But hey, the guy showed some serious progress and resilience during his comeback journey. To put things in perspective, this happened in October 2017, right at the beginning of the NBA season. Hayward didn't make his official return until the following season. So, he was out of action for a solid year, roughly 9 to 10 months. That's a heck of a long time to be on the sidelines. about as long as the time Victor Oladipo spent. He was hustling back on defense, trying to guard Siakam during a game in 2019. But then, things took a nasty turn. Oladipo planted his right leg, stumbled, and bam! He collided with Siakam and both of them fell to the ground. Right there and then, the reigning 2018 Most Improved Player loudly screamed and grabbed his knee in agony. It was obvious something was seriously wrong. The Indiana trainers rushed to his side, covering his injured leg with a towel to calm him down. It turns out, Oladipo had ruptured his quadriceps tendon in his right knee. After the injury, he had to undergo surgery and a lot of rehab. It wasn't an easy road for him. He missed the rest of the 2018-19 season and a big chunk of the 2019-20 season. That's roughly more than a year of being on the sidelines dealing with the injury and working his way back. But here's a cool tidbit. During his recovery, Oladipo got interested in tech investments. He realized that NBA checks wouldn't keep coming forever, so he diversified his interests. Smart move, right? Unlike the referee who caused controversy by kicking Jusuf Nurkic while he was down. Yes, you heard that right. During a game in March 2019, Jusuf Nurkic, the big man for the Portland Trail Blazers, had a nasty fall. And it wasn't just any fall, my friend. He broke both major bones in his left leg. As Nurkic was lying on the floor, dealing with the excruciating pain, guess what happened? The referee, Tyler Ford, who was supposed to be there to maintain order, accidentally bumped into Nurkic's injured leg. Can you believe it? Talk about adding insult to injury, literally. Now here's the backstory. It all went down in a double overtime game against the Brooklyn Nets. Nurkic was going for an offensive rebound, trying to tip the ball in, when suddenly he came crashing down to the ground. It was one of those moments that made you cringe, mainly because of the impact and the way he landed on his already compromised leg. Nurkic decided not to watch the video of the play for the first month. He already had so many strange events from that night imprinted in his memory. I can't blame him for wanting to take a break from reliving the whole ordeal. But I do blame the universe for Derrick Rose's nightmare. I mean, the man was set out for greatness. And I mean, Michael Jordan-type greatness, so it is a pretty big deal. It all started back in 2012 during a playoff game against the 76ers. Rose went up for a layup, but something went terribly wrong midair. It was like his legs decided to do a little dance of their own. Not the kind of dance you'd want to see, mind you. When Rose landed, it was clear that something was seriously amiss. He stumbled around, still trying to play, but it was evident he had injured himself. It turns out he had torn his left ACL, which marked the beginning of a series of unfortunate events. Rose had to sit out entirely the following season to recover from the injury. But when he finally made his return in 2013, the basketball gods weren't kind to him. And once again, Rose had to bid farewell to the rest of the season. So from the beginning of endless horrors for Derrick Rose to the knee catastrophe of Shaun Livingston, we walked you through some of the most devastating on-court NBA injuries.